What do you think is the greatest thing that you've ever done?
Hmm. The greatest thing I ever did was build the first truck I got.
What was the first truck you got?
Was build the first truck I got. It was a 1982 Chevy S10.
Oh, I remember now.
It was a really small and ugly one.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you ever finish that?
Yeah, I finished it and I sold it.
What is your biggest regret?
Selling that truck.
Why?
Because I want that truck back, because I did so much work to it.
Well then, let me ask, what did you do to it?
I put a bigger engine out of a Corvette in it. I put a new transmission in it. I fixed all of the rust and rot everywhere on it. I painted it. What else did I do? That's really all I did in a nutshell.
What can people learn from you?
To learn how to fix a car, that's about it.
Seriously? You don't think there's anything about you that people could learn from?
I tend to, if there's like a debate going on, I'll tend to get both sides to understand each argument.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that's something I'm good at.
But that's all people can learn from you? Is how to fix a car and how to understand each other?
Yeah, I'd say I can teach people how to understand kind of what other people are going through.
Okay.
Does that work? Does that make sense?
It does work, but it's such a short answer.
Well, because I can elaborate on it if you'd like.
Yes, please.
So, like, say that there's one person who, I'm just going to use Hillary and Trump for this one. It's just divided.
Okay.
One side likes Hillary, one side likes Trump. Two people. They both like them for their different reasons. I personally think they're both terrible people. So I didn't really care who got elected, but I could tell person A why Trump is okay and Hillary's okay, and then go to person B and tell them, yes, Trump is good, but he's also done this, and here's where Hillary would shine upon those situations.
That's a good one.
Still, they're both terrible. Like, I really wish neither of them were running for president.
Yeah. That's funny. You always go to that one because that's like what everyone fights about in the house because of Mom.
That's what everyone fights about in this whole country now.
It's true. Growing up, what or who was one of the biggest influences in your life that helped you become who you are?
Dan was probably a very big influence in my life.
Do you want to explain who he is for my project and why he was? And like what you learned from him?
Dan is technically our uncle, but technically not. He owns the junkyard. I have been going there since I was about 10 years old. In every free moment I have, I still go there in every free moment I have. And he's taught me a lot about cars and a lot of stuff.
Like, what's one thing he taught you about cars that you like has stuck with you the most, and what's one thing he's taught you about life?
He taught me not to be a drug addict or an alcoholic because everybody there is either a drug addict or an alcoholic.
Well, how did he go about teaching you that then?
He's just always been like, hey, you see that person? I'd be like, yeah. He'd be like, yeah, you don't want to be like them.
Yeah.
And then something with cars, I don't really know exactly how to answer that because there's just like so many things.
I mean, like, isn't he always like on you about like being organized and stuff because that's like one of your issues? Like you pick things up and you kind of just like toss it anywhere, and in like your head it makes sense and you know where it is, but like everyone else like actually puts things like back where they're supposed to go, but you have a separate organization system.
My organization system is just remember where you put it.
Yeah. What is the biggest challenge in your life that you overcame, and what did you learn from it?
Biggest challenge? I don't know. I have like a pretty easy life.
You think you have an easy life?
Oh yeah.
Then okay, why do you think you have an easy life, and you've never been challenged?
Well, I have always had what I've needed, thanks to Mom, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, I've never needed something for either school or just for like my personal self. Not like needed like an Xbox, needed like something I actually need.
Yeah.
And I've never needed it and not been able to get it. So like, it's never really been challenged in that way. Nothing ever happened that like changed me in a better way or something like that.
Do you feel like something needs to happen to you to change you in a better way, or do you think that you're fine?
I think I'm pretty solid.
That's funny. Not in that it's not true, but like it's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll just leave that question. This one's a little longer.
Okay.
Recall a time where you made a mistake or did something wrong and you were confronted about it. What was the situation and how did you respond to it, or like how did you fix it?
Okay. So, you remember when I was younger and I would take everything apart?
Yeah.
So, one day I got really like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but
Ambitious.
I got really adventurous. I'll say ambitious. That's the word I wanted. I got really ambitious, and I took apart one of the trains that Pa had in the used to set up in the other room, like all the trains he had.
Yeah.
I took one completely apart, and I couldn't put it back together. And I was like freaking out because I couldn't be like, "Hey, Pa, can you help me put this back together?" Because I wasn't supposed to take it apart in the first place.
Yeah.
But I also didn't just want to leave it there for him to discover in like 1,000 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I hid it in my room for about a week. And then he asked me, he was like, "Hey, where's this train?" And I was like, "Oh, about that." I took it apart and can't put it back together.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up just putting it back together with me. And all's well that ends well.
I didn't even know that happened.
Exactly.
He wasn't even mad?
He was like, "What the hell?" But then he was like, "Okay, like, it happened. We have to deal with it now."
Yeah. That's funny. What is your fondest childhood memory?
Remember when you and Violet used to push me down the hall in that Tonka dump truck?
Yeah.
That is my fondest memory.
Seriously?
I loved that. I would sit in like the dumping
The
part
toy
of a dump truck. Yeah, the one that when I fell out of my bed, I smashed my face on it and got a scar on my eyebrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. And then Mom ran it over with her Dodge Caravan. I was so upset at her. I was like sitting on the front steps and she's backing up, and I'm like, she'll see it. She just didn't see it and ran it right over.
I do remember that actually. Just
and then
watching
she bought me
it
like
happen.
a cheap plastic one. I was like, the one I had was like a real metal one. Then she bought me a cheap plastic one, and I was like, I don't want this.
So, who do you think you are?
I think I am more of I think I'm a problem solver rather than, like, I'm good at solving problems. I'm good at coming up with creative solutions to things. It may not be the most efficient way, but it'll be the best. It'll work. It'll work okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm generally good at problems. I would say I'm a very solid problem solver.
What else do you think about yourself or of yourself?
I don't think I'm a very difficult person. I think I'm generally easygoing.
Mm-hmm.
What else about? Who am I? find this one hard to believe, but I help people a lot. If somebody...
I know that you do that. You just fight me over helping me.
Like, if you called me and said, I need help right now, I'd say, okay. Like, if somebody called me and said, I need help right now, I'd say, okay. But if they call me and they're like, can we set up a time, I'm more likely not to do it if it's not an emergency.
Why do you think that is?
I think I'm just lazy.
Why do you think you're lazy?
My thinking would be, okay, if they have time to plan out when this can be dealt with, then it's not an emergency, so it doesn't need to get done.
Uh-huh.
But if they say they need help right now, then it's an emergency and it has to get done. So, like, do it now.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, what else?
You don't think you're funny or kind or sensitive?
Obviously I'm hilarious and like the greatest, kindest person in the world, but I thought that was just like a generic, everybody has those qualities type thing. I try my best to be kind and make everybody happy. I don't like creating conflicts among people, but occasionally, when I do create conflict in between people, I would quickly try and resolve it, just due to the fact that keeping, like, as the kids say nowadays, having beef with somebody for a long period of time is just not needed. It does nothing but create more problems, and, like, why would you want more problems?
Do you think you're sensitive? Because Mom and everyone else always says that you're very
sensitive. Yeah, they all think I'm sensitive. I'm not that sensitive. Like, I don't care what people think.
Sensitive doesn't mean that you care about what people think. It's you care about how people feel. And you're very, aware of people's feelings.
I know where Mom comes from when she says that, and it's not that I care about how people feel. It's just that I don't want to deal with them being upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it directly affects me, like, I'll use Kyla, for instance. If Kyla were to be upset, like, she's my girlfriend, that would directly affect me. I wouldn't want her to be upset. But I would do whatever I could to make her not upset.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, that's something I don't want to. Like, nobody wants to, like, have somebody they care about or they're with constantly upset. So, their goal would most likely be, unless they're a weirdo, to make that person as happy as possible.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think you're sensitive, you think you're just, like, doing what anyone would do? Yeah.
I probably could have just said that.
I want the detail!
But yes, and that is what I mean. That is what I'm saying.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
Yeah?
Bye, Jack.
Bye.